With no action plan yet from the authorities, National Green Tribunal wraps the Bengaluru civic body again, asks them to crack down on societies discharging waste. Are we failing our traffic policemen? Human rights body pulls up state governments over health hazards our policemen face on the streets due to rising pollution. Kolhapur court grants bail to Virendra Tawde, main accused in Govind Pansare murder case. Complaint lodged against Delhi Public School in Hyderabad for allegedly charging high donations. Hyderabad Police and the National Commission for Child Rights probing the charge. Violent protests in the Bidar district of Karnataka in response to the rape of a 20-year-old woman on Sunday. Police resorts to lathi charge after the agitation turned violent. BJP leader Yashwant Sinha launched the Rashtra Manch today, a national forum aimed to give a voice to people concerned with the prevailing situation in the country. Shatrughan Sinha, Dinesh Trivedi, Majid Memon have already joined. The government proposes orange passports for non-matriculate migrant workers. Kerala High Court issues notice to the centre on a PIL alleging discrimination.
The Delhi police investigation into your late wife's death has taken now 4 years.
4 years.
Why do you believe it's taking so long? What is your comment on that
Well,
case?
I would really like to know, because as you can well imagine, the family, her son, her brothers and myself have been deeply, deeply anxious for closure.
Big Mirror Now exclusive. Mirror Now executive editor Faye D'Souza speaks to the flamboyant member of parliament Shashi Tharoor. The senior Congress leader speaks about the Sunanda death case, NDA report card. This far among other issues that we take up here on Mirror Now. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching The Big Story with me, Avni Raja. Let's straight get to the big story that we're tracking in this edition. Parents across the country are protesting the exorbitant fees and donation that private schools are charging. In Maharashtra, parents have been protesting now for a year against arbitrary fee hikes, and despite promises, nothing much has happened. In Hyderabad, the police and the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights will now investigate a complaint against a school alleging that the school charges an exorbitant amount of donation. The situation is similar across the country. On The Big Story today, we ask, why is the government not stepping up to ensure that there are no arbitrary fee hikes and that parents are not left at the mercy of such schools? In fact, we've also opened up our phone line so that we can hear about the issues that you face with school fees in your city. So call us. The number is flashing on your screen. Let's first go across to Aishwarya, who has been tracking this, who's joining us on the phone line. Aishwarya, what can you tell us as far as, because this has been an issue that parents have been fighting for a long time now, the issue of arbitrary fee hikes?
Well, I mean, what's really surprising in this whole case is that we had seen last year how there were parents across the country who were in distress and they had taken onto the streets protesting against the arbitrary fee hike. What the parents say is that this has been extremely rampant, and you can see fee hikes from 15% going all the way up till 50%. Now, what's surprising is that the state education department in Maharashtra has decided to keep mum about it. We tried to speak to the officials in the education department. We tried to speak with the minister, but nothing came out of it. Not just that, even the school management did not respond to mails and to phone calls and to messages sent out by Mirror Now asking them what is the plan of action as far as school fee hike is concerned. So from both the ends, it's pretty clear that the government and the schools are deciding to keep mum about it, and that's precisely what the parents had told us, that not to knock. It's been almost a year. There were many promises made, but they are not sure whether the school managed to adhere to the promises that were made to the parents last year.
All right, thanks Aishwarya for getting us that. In fact, like Aishwarya is saying, in Maharashtra, parents associations are planning a protest demanding government intervention to ensure fair school fees. Parents have been incessantly protesting against these arbitrary hikes since a year now. Listen in to what some of the parents had to say.
It's more than 4 years that we have been given many assurance by government be it state government or central government. State government, I would say that not only Maharashtra, across India situation is same, and parents are not getting relief, and in spite of giving so many assurance, nothing has happened till date. That which we want is the proper implementation of the existing laws which are in place already, the state laws and central laws, be it Fee Regulation Act or laws related to child safety and other laws. There is no proper implementation. So now parent association have now decided, we had a meeting on 20th December, around 20 states participated, parent association, and we met in Delhi and we decided to have some line of action, which is the first line of action is the protest, which we are doing nationwide protest on 3rd of February, and we met HRD officials also in Delhi, and they gave some assurance, okay, we will see, you gave us some of your suggestions you sent.
Let's also look at the other instance in Hyderabad, where now the Hyderabad Police and the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights will investigate a complaint against the Delhi Public School there in Nacharam, Hyderabad. Now, parents have alleged that the school is taking high donations and they have filed a formal complaint against the school. Take a look at the details of that from this report filed by Paul.
Back in December 2016, that Vijay Gopal, an anti-corruption activist from Hyderabad, he realized that Delhi Public School, Nacharam branch in Hyderabad, was collecting fees from parents under several heads. Tuition fees is the only head under which schools are allowed to collect fees, but they were taking money under one-time fees, capitation fees, admission fees, and several heads, so on and so forth. So he went to the local police, filed a complaint, asked them to register a case. Surprisingly, they told him that it doesn't come under their jurisdiction, it comes under the educational department, and hence no action was taken. This prompted him to go to the State Child Rights Commission. Finally, he got an order saying the police have to register an FIR, and which was done. Later, he waited for several months, 6, 7, 8 months passed by, no action was taken. That is when he decided to write to the National Child Rights Commission. Finally, now he's got a reply saying that the Hyderabad collector has to carry out a detailed probe. A report has to be submitted as to why no action was taken. Is there any reality, any truth in what is being alleged by Vijay Gopal? And a report has to be submitted back to them in a span of 20 days. Now the Hyderabad Schools Parents Association, who have also been crusading against the school fee loot, are hopeful that this particular instance in which one school has been taken to task, where a probe is being carried out against Delhi Public School, will snowball into something major, and several other schools which are looting parents in the name of fees will come under the scanner and will provide a respite to parents who are struggling to pay the fees of their children.
All right, let's go across to Vijay Gopal, in fact, RTI activist and anti-corruption activist who's joining us live at this point. Vijay, thank you so much for joining us on Mirror Now. My first question to you is, we just heard our correspondent outline the details of what has gone on as far as this particular school in Hyderabad is concerned. The fact that the National Commission for Child Rights has taken up this issue and has now demanded a probe, how crucial do you believe that itself is in this entire fight, a broad-based fight here?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on the show as well. Yes, I think I should thank the Honorable National Commission for Child Rights for having taken cognizance of this case and having directed the district collector to submit a detailed investigation report and the findings within a time-bound period, which has been, as told, 20 days. Now, it's going to be extremely crucial for us because, it so far has been all the time that the courts or the commissions give an order only then is when things seem to be moving forward. So basic administration in this country is also being run by the commissions and the courts. I'm hoping that now the police will probably start getting tiptoed on this matter and submit the report as soon as they can. While, we'll have to wait and see as to what Director of School Education, who also has received my complaint sometime in August itself with proper evidence of the fee receipts, not fee receipts exactly, but videographic evidences of the principal talking about how much they've charged as a one-time admission fee, which is about 75,000, apart from the tuition fee and all other fees, as we've just said. So we'll have to wait and see as to what exactly their findings will say, which has to be in in sync with what we are claiming, or if it would be contradicting, and if it is yes, on what grounds. But there have been enough laws, though, which clearly states that you cannot. In fact, donation has been illegal at least in the state of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh right from 1983 under the state's Educational Institutions Act 1983, Section 5. Which clearly states that you will be imprisoned for not less than 3 years if you take donation from any parent. And this goes across all educational institutions. It's not just school we are talking about. Education as a sector itself has become a big commercial profit-making machinery. So intermediate, engineering, MBBS, I'm sure you know, you talk about any course, you got to pay it in lakhs and lakhs for getting an admission done. But it has been illegal right from 1983. And that's an aspect that not many parents are aware of.
Right. Absolutely. And let's go across also to Arundhati Chavan, Parents Teacher Association, who's joining us on the phone line. Arundhati, thanks for joining us. You know, just to take forward the point that Vijay was just mentioning, the fact that there are already laws in place, there are rules at both the state level and at the central level, but obviously they're not being implemented.
Yeah, there is lot of apathy from the government side, especially government of Maharashtra. They have district fee regulatory body, but it is like, parents don't get justice because there are many things which are not made clear. Sometimes they say it is a role of a PTA, sometimes they say that it is not a role of a PTA, it's management's policy. So it is like totally the act is there, the district fee regulatory body is there, but we don't know that it is for whom? For the management, for the government, or for the parents, because parents are running pillar to post for the justice, and there are so many cases with us, like there are which are pending with Child Right Commission because the children are harassed for the payment of fees, and nothing is made clear to the parents before when they take admission. Immediately after on the name of increasing the activities, teachers' salaries, they make a fee hike. But I don't think that any school is paying 7th pay commission to the teachers. So it is like, totally like, there is lot of chaos, and even though there is law, there is a rule, it has to be regulated.
Right.
And it has to be monitored properly by the government and Department of Education, which is not doing. And moreover, it is very sad that government is saying that private schools, unaided schools are like, we are giving them free hand, they don't come under our purview. But when you are giving them water, land, electricity, how can you say that there is no control? NOC has to be taken by the government, then why government cannot?
Absolutely, Arundhati, and I'm going to take across some of those points to Vijay as well, but our phone lines are open. Call us, tell us what are the issues that you're facing with respect to your child's schools. We've got a caller with us, Shekhar Salim, who's on the line with us. Thanks, Shekhar, for calling in. Tell us, what would you like to say?
Hello.
Hello, yes, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. We are already facing this loot for over 7-8 years. For last 7-8 years. Yeah, we are being looted inconsistently. No government is hearing our voices.
Have you tried to file any kind of a complaint?
No, our government here, late Jayalalitha government formed a committee to take note of this problem under a retired judge, and he has framed a list over various schools' fee structure, whereas they are looting inconsistently, invariably, because these private school owners have formed a cartel. And they are not following these rules. The fee structure is fixed by this late judge, retired judge, is not being followed. This is already known to the government, but they are not taking any action.
Right.
Already, most of the private schools have changed from metric syllabus to CBSE syllabus to earn more, to loot more from the people.
Right, Shekhar, thanks
That
for
is-
calling in. In fact, I'm going to take that point across to Vijay. Vijay, I think this is a real issue because a lot of parents, like we just heard, don't know what to do in such a case. The rules, obviously, the regulations are not being followed, not being implemented. What are the options available to parents who are facing these kind of issues?
Absolutely. I agree with Mr. Shekhar, who's just called in and said that they are not aware of the options available and what the laws say. Now, unless we, I think the Constitution, luckily for, Indians has equipped them with enough options at their disposal, which is nothing but the first line of defense that we have in our society is to call up police. Now, unfortunately, our police guys are getting trained under some Act of 1861, which is what the problem is, and they seem to be under the impression that only murder and rape are the crimes in a society, and everything else does not really come under the purview of the police as such. Now, there are 511 sections in Indian Penal Code, and which are under different chapters and different sections for different crimes as it be. And the option that we have as parents or anybody who sees that there is a crime that is happening, you don't really have to be a victim to even report the crime. You can act responsibly and still report the crime, which is what I did. I'm not a parent yet, and I think by the time I wait and report out about my kid being harassed and taken too much money from me, I think we'll have to probably start selling our kidneys by then. And nonetheless, so the option that we have is anybody who lies to me and takes money from me, or in a wrongful manner or in a dishonest manner, can be booked under Section 420 of Indian Penal Code. And also, if somebody violates a government order which has been obviously issued by a public servant, which nonetheless, none other than the Chief Minister himself, you can also be booked under Section 188 of Indian Penal Code, which is what the sections were under which the school management was booked back in January 2017, after obviously the intervention of the State Commission.
Right.
Now, if not by themselves, obviously they are scared of themselves. If there are a handful of officers who end up doing their job, the accolade that they receive for having done any action like that would be a transfer or harassment from the higher ups. So I think police has to wake up and start manning up and take some responsibility and say the society is made by them and not by the handful of politicians
Absolutely,
who
absolutely, Vijay. In fact, let's also get in a perspective from the other side. Gul Ghariali, Principal Gopal Sharma International Pawai joins us. Thank you very much, Mr. Ghariali, for joining us. What is your response? Because this is clearly an issue that is extremely broad-based. We've seen one issue, one school in Hyderabad, which has been, at this point, it is being probed for this kind of illegal donations. What is your response to this entire issue? Why is it that schools seem to be taking advantage of the fact that parents are willing to go through any extent to ensure that their child gets a good education?
Thank you very much for calling in, and I am indeed very happy to be a part of this discussion. Being from the academic faculty and knowing the problems of the school, the parents are at liberty, of course, to find and decide what school they would like their children to go, right? There is no force or compulsion on any parent. And let me tell you, all 5 fingers are not the same. All the schools do not sort of indulge in these malpractices.
No, we are not saying that all schools do, but there are fair few schools which do, and do it under the garb of different heads and different, for example, are forcing parents to buy textbooks from their premises, uniforms from their premises, when perhaps they could get it cheaper somewhere else. These are the different ways, aside from, of course, the illegal donations that we've been talking about.
Yeah, there are some rules and regulations which are laid down by the government. And schools like ours absolutely rigidly and strictly follow those rules. We have no hidden agenda. We do not extract money more than we have informed the parents. And the fees also, every 3 years, we do raise the fees because the government also imposes on us to enforce the 5th Pay Commission and the 6th Pay Commission and now the 7th Pay Commission. Now, the school itself cannot run without the finances coming in from the parents. And therefore, under the instructions and regulations from the government that every teacher has to be paid this certain amount, the schools are sometimes forced to raise their fees not every year, but every 3 years, which I think is a very reasonable demand. And parents are aware.
But Mr. Karyali, do you not believe that whenever there is a fee hike, it cannot be arbitrary? It needs to be some sort of a regulation in the way the fees are hiked.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. There are schools which are randomly hiking fees every year, every 6 months, every 2 years. It is happening. I'm very well aware of that. And I sympathize with the parents who are under such kind of a management. There are schools which are literally squeezing the parents on account of books and uniforms and things like that. But there are also a few very, very clean and good schools.
Yes, of course, we're not really talking about those. We're talking about the schools, because not all parents have the wherewithal to either shift schools to those or afford schools that are there. They're forced to stay with the school that their child is already in. In fact, I'm going to also go across to Vijay again. Vijay, do you think that it's time that the government really steps in as far as this entire education system is concerned, schools are concerned, fees are concerned? Because as you know, as you were just mentioning a while back as well, it's a very broad-based issue, and just one school here being probed is not going to change the system.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about that. I think government should step up. In fact, central government should come up and start taking responsibility and amend the Right to Education Acts in such a way that they include the regulation of the fee element, the percentage of it, and also add the time-bound resolution to the complaints that need to be made, and also make it very clear that this law can very much be in the event of a violation of certain sections can be reported to police, and police have no right to refuse the complaints, because end of the day, understand, a common man does not have time to go to commissions after commissions, year after year. The way I've been pursuing this issue for the last 1.5 years, common man doesn't have. He needs to pay for the fee that his kid is going to the school for, and for which he has to go back to his work and start off with his own
Right.
life.
So, Vijay, just that point, the fact that you can go to the police and register a complaint if you feel that your child's school is indulging in anything illegal or is taking fees unfairly in the form of donations or anything else, it is something that viewers need to know, that as a parent you can go to the police. But Vijay, what do you do if the police, like we saw in a Hyderabad case, until the matter was taken further up, the police did not file a complaint? What does one do in such issues?
Right. Well, unfortunately, yes, you practically will get through these situations, and the best thing that you can do is please approach Child Rights Commission. Now, the reason for that is under Section 32 of India, the Right to Education Act, Child Rights Commission have been equipped with enough power to go ahead and investigate such cases. Also, you can at the same time approach Human Rights Commission of your state as well, depending upon whichever office is the closest to you. You can approach any of these forums, file your petition, and trust me, like always, judicial system is the only institution that has always been on the side of the common man in this country. They will take cognizance of it, and the moment they send the notice, the same day you will get a call from the same police station who refused your complaint to request to give them a new complaint, because they don't or they cannot lawfully file an FIR on a backdated complaint. Hence, they will request you to give a fresh complaint. It's to that extent that they'll go and request you to give a new complaint and file. But again, unless the police higher-ups wake up and instead of just making statements in media stating we are here for people, we will take action and all of that, I think they should start practicing what they preach rather than just give, lip service to the citizens.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much, Vijay, for joining us on The Big Story, and thank you to our other guests as well. But that's the issue. Something that parents should know is that you can go and file a complaint with the police if you believe that your child's school is indulging in any of these illegal activities, whether it's forcing you to buy books from them, making uniforms only from them, illegal donations or unfair fee hikes. You can go to the police, and this is a topic that we will continue debating on Mirror Now. Thank you for watching.